We get the privilege of interviewing a lot of leaders from diverse sectors and backgrounds and ethnicities. One of the things we've learned over time is that most leaders are readers. They are always reading something. And their favorite go-to book is typically found on their nightstand. What book is on your nightstand?
Well, I have several, and I read a lot. I love reading. I attribute that to me doing so well in school as being an avid reader from a very young age. And I think when you want to be a leader, people think, well, I got to learn how to control people and put them to work, and so they'll follow me. But that's not true. To be a good leader, you really need to reflect on yourself and do the self-work. So I always go back to the 4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements.
Yes, by Don Miguel Ruiz. And if you can do the self-work and follow those 4 agreements, that's a great starting point to developing yourself as a leader. And one of those 4 agreements is to not make assumptions. But to not make assumptions requires us to have impeccable communication with others. And I think, communicating is so hard. It's just the biggest challenge, with anyone. And so another book I recommend is Crucial Conversations. So that can help break it down to how to have a really difficult or challenging conversation with someone rather than suffering and living in fear about what the outcome will be. You can feel emboldened to make that conversation happen. So I do recommend those. And there's another book that I just have to mention. It's not related to leadership, but I think it's very relevant for this time as we're in the pandemic. Several years ago, I tragically lost one of my younger brothers, and one of my good friends gave me this book. It's called Keep Going, The Art of Perseverance. And it's by a Lakota man, Joseph Marshall III. And I think a lot of us have lost family and friends during the pandemic. And if we've been fortunate enough not to lose anyone, I think we're still grieving our way of life before. And I think there's a lot of valuable insight from this book to help us to keep going through this challenging time.
Let's go and keep going.